appreciate him stepping in with us. Talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs as we get closer to the finals. He has always been my NBA expert. By the way, resetting back to what we were talking about prior to Rick coming on. Come on, man. Where do you really rank DeVonta Smith in the NFL when it comes to his placing as a wide receiver in the NFL? Where do you put him? I said this. I think he's got Marvin Harrison ability. I think he has the opportunity to have that kind of career. Marvin Harrison had a great career. Now, he had one of the greatest signal callers of all time. He doesn't have that. Now, we're gonna ask a question here in a second that maybe could help those numbers. He's not Yale. Yale says that DeVonta Smith is top 10. Well, again, I want to reset this. If you were and this is how who would you draft? Davante Adams or DeVonta Smith? Davante Adams. Who would you draft? Justin Jefferson or DeVonta Smith? Who would you draft? Tyreek Hill or DeVonta Smith? Who would you draft? Jamar Chase or DeVonta Smith? Who would you draft? A.J. Brown or DeVonta Smith? Who would you draft? Stephon Diggs, DeVonta Smith? Who would you draft? Cooper Kupp, A.J. or DeVonta Smith? Who would you draft? Deebo Samuel, DeVonta Smith? Who would you draft? Mike Evans, who's had 1,000 yards every year he's played in the league, or DeVonta Smith? I just named you 10 guys. And I could throw these other 3 at you. Hopkins, Metcalf, and Waddle. Come on, man. The conversation is who's the better wide receiver at 14 and 15? CeeDee Lamb or DeVonta? Hey, by the way, do you really think it's a slam that he's the 14th best wide receiver in the NFL? In a pass-happy league that's got a ton of great players? Waddle isn't much better, if at all. Well, his numbers? Well, according to you there, Tone, his numbers do. This guy's got 2,400 yards in 2 years. Only thing he's done, he had a better catch year this year. But the yardage year, this year, he had 1,300 some yards. And he was the second option. He was also the second option in Miami until it didn't play the entire year. Can you imagine if that guy had Jalen Hurts throwing in the ball? He may have had 2,000 yards. How about a decent quarterback that could stay upright was throwing Jalen Waddle the ball? He might have 125 catches this year. Do you know he was actually playing with backup guys half the season, Jalen Waddle? Those numbers aren't drastically. The quarterbacking is. The quarterback is. He was never there consistently. AJ had 1,300 yards. I'm talking DeVonta. He had like 1,300 yards as the 2 guy. Come on, man. And by the way, every time Jalen Waddle's been on the field healthy, DeVonta Smith was never the number 1 option over him, even at Bama. Okay? Even at Bama. Dude, who would you draft? Waddle or Smith? I'm taking Waddle. Who are you drafting? DK Metcalf or DeVonta Smith? Who? Come on. Who you really? So you might draft DeVonta Smith maybe because he's 31 over Hopkins, but Hopkins was on pace to have a better year than. Come on, man. Man, that's some of that Eagle love. Yeah. Dude, he's not a top 10 wide receiver. He's not a top 10. You like blueberry, you like strawberry. They aren't that different from one another. They were at Alabama, too. Waddle was the number one guy before he got hurt in the Tennessee game. Come on, man. I believe the dude was even drafted higher. Come on, man. Yeah, that's it. I'll take DeVonta over Debo. Well, tell him to stay out of the thing. Holy shit, you Eagle guys, man. Holy cow. Sills, this guy's top 5. Hey, I don't give a shit about Justin Jefferson. I'll take him over Jefferson. Loyal to the soil, like you say, homeboy. Well, let's do something here and kind of tie it into Philadelphia and tie it into Jalen Hurts. Okay? So I guess that OTA is either yesterday or today. Lamar Jackson said that you're going to see more offense and you're going to see more pass offense this coming season in Baltimore. Okay. But to your point, Smith is a top 15 for sure, not top 10. Hey, he's top 15. Would I take, I never answered the question. Would I take him over CeeDee Lamb? Excuse me. Would I take him over CeeDee Lamb? Would you take him over CeeDee? And hey, for the record, I love his attitude. That guy doesn't come off like a shit-talking diva wide receiver to me. Okay? It's a confident comment. I mean, look, how do you not fall in love with a guy like DeVonta Smith when he was at Alabama and that entire community, okay, was behind him, loved him, the way they were cheering for him? He's a guy you root for. I love the kid. I really do. So I don't want anybody to get the notion that he's one of my favorite players on that team. And by the way, when I first initially came to JAKIB, I thought they drafted the wrong guy because I didn't know how they were going to implement him in the offense. And Jalen's just gotten better. Okay? Be careful how you answer this one, Sills. You've been saying Smith was better than CeeDee all year. Oh, so Tone's holding my feet to the fire on this one. Oh, hey, be looking for a new post. Be looking for a new post. Okay, be looking for a new post here coming up. Yeah. I think he's better. I think he's better. Because when called upon, he's there. CeeDee Lamb, when called upon, I don't know, man. I don't think that guy's consistent. Like, when you think of the greatest wide receivers in Cowboy history, does he come to your mind? Is he Des Bryant? Like, right? Is he Michael Irvin? I don't know. I don't see those guys. When I see CeeDee Lamb and I see guys who wore 88, do I see Drew Pearson and them guys that wore that 88? I don't think so. I don't see that. Now, when I see DeVonta, I see consistency, route running, a desire to be great attitude, works with his team, never complains if he doesn't get. Here's the cool thing about him. That goose egg game, didn't say a word. Can you imagine if one of these guys in this top 10 list here got a goose egg game because their quarterback didn't target him? And can you imagine one of these guys, what they would do? Shit, you got right now Davante Adams crying about the Raiders in May. Right? All right, let's do this here. Let me ask you something. And I'm going to take something that I heard from the Baltimore camp yesterday or today. Do you think the Eagles are going to be more of a passing team this year or more of a running team? Or kind of where they were a year ago? Same kind of balance. If you were going to look at what this team is trying to get into being, are we going to be expecting more passing yards? this year than being balanced. Be careful how you answer this because I'm going to tell you why. Okay? We're not changing the formula. Really, why would Baltimore? Because they want to keep the guy healthy. Okay? Let's rationalize this thing out. Baltimore wants to throw more. You know why? They're trying to keep that guy upright. In Baltimore's opinion, this is why they're loading up on offensive talent. In my opinion, I think they'd rather lose a game throwing the ball than losing the quarterback in a particular game running the ball. Does that make sense? Especially when you pay the guy $52 million a year, $51 million. They'd rather lose the game with him throwing a pick than losing him. Okay, does that make sense? So will the Eagles apply that to Jalen Hurts? Guy makes $50 million a year now. Would the Eagles rather lose a game, throwing the ball and more? So are we expecting more passing attempts this year? I think we will, especially with what the committee of running backs that you have and the limited action that many of those guys seemingly can't put on the field or on tape because they're always hurt. I think the Eagles are going to be more of a passing team this year. I'm not saying they're not going to get into being a balanced team, but I think that's going to lean. If it's me, I think that leans more towards passing. You know what, too? Think about this, everyone. Tone, everyone. Actually, it's a great way to save Jalen. 1, 2, 3, throw. Throws a pick. Lose a game. Dude, Brady's lost games. He's had pick six. The great quarterbacks. You're not paying that guy $50 million to get hurt. You're paying that guy because he does special things running the ball and passing the ball. And they're going to pick their spots, I think, more running the ball this year than they have in the past. And I think they're going to – I'm not saying that they're going to try to pull back on Jalen Hurts. That's not what I'm saying. Because the one thing I don't – boy, this – you know what? This goes back into the conversation here with Brian Johnson. You know, the coordinator that has the most pressure on him, Desai's got to come up with a scheme, right? Johnson's got to come up, along with Sirianni, a way of utilizing all the skills that Hurts has, but in the same light, protecting the quarterback to make sure he can play those 17 games. How do you do that? You throw the ball more. Okay? You throw the ball more. 32 total TDs last year for Hurts. I don't give a shit what that means. Great. So he's on pace to be Cam Newton. You want Jalen Hurts at the back end of your contract to look like Cam? Baltimore doesn't. I believe that's why they're going to throw the ball more. Jalen Hurts will never play 10 years, the current pace he's playing. He's not going to. Now, I think he's got the best chance, even including Josh Allen. I think he's got the better chance because he's smarter. He gets down, he gets it, he slides, sees the game. I think Hurts thinks that he's more deadly in open space like Rodgers is. But the one thing that you don't want to see Aaron Rodgers, you don't like to see Rodgers in a rollout. Why? Because he is a gifted scrambler. Aaron Rodgers is a gifted scrambler. He is. He's a gifted scrambler. Eagles supposedly interested in Julio Jones as wide receiver 4. Jameson, I would say this. Ankle issues the last 3 years. 12 games. Then again, you're not asking him for a bunch of catches. You're not looking for 100 catch seasons any longer out of him. You're looking at productivity. And one thing I'll tell you that Julio Jones still does that he's great at, he's great in the run game. He's absolutely great in the run game. Okay? You know, I said this before, Yale. Jalen is trending towards being something like a Russell Wilson, and I never thought he would ever trend that way. I never thought he'd trend there. Okay, but he is. D-Jack's over Julio in my book. D-Jack's a great player. Cam Newton won an MVP and went 15-1, lost the Super Bowl. Newton still better as of now. Yes, of course. Cam Newton, as of now, has had a superior career. And all the way up, if you want to go to the first couple of years in Cam Newton's career, Jalen's done nothing close to that. He was a better passer. He was more physical. He was intimidating. It was a tough play to play against him. His accuracy and his completion percentage wasn't very high, which always hurt him. But he was a phenomenal football player. Phenomenal. And put a lot of years together, too. I mean, if you look at the first couple of years that Cam was in the league compared to Jalen, not close. I mean, he was just a better football player. Just a better player. But Jalen's getting better, okay? I would say this to you right now. When you're looking at dual threat, when I'm not comparing the 11th year career, I'm comparing the first couple of years all the way up to where Jalen is right now. And Cam Newton, first couple of years in the league, he was really great. I would say this, Vic and Michael Vick and Cam, probably better. But those are great dual threat guys. It's no shade. Okay? Hey, look at Tone goes, he was the number 1 overall pick. Okay. Your boy's making $55 million. All right. Okay, so you're telling me he's overachieved. All right. Well, let me put it to you this way. Do you know how many Heisman Trophy winners have won the most valuable player award that played quarterback in college and in the NFL? Can you name them? Can you name the Heisman Trophy MVPs of the NFL? Quarterbacks. Only quarterbacks. Can you name them? Can you name them? Name me a quarterback that won the Heisman Trophy that was an MVP winner in the NFL. Quarterback. Quarterback. Lamar Jackson. Hey, he totally has. So is Dak. So is Tony Romo. Undrafted. Here they are. Jim Plunkett never won an MVP award regular season, not Super Bowl MVP. Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, and Roger Staubach are the only quarterbacks to win the Heisman and the MVP in the National Football League. There's only 3 that have ever done that. Not that easy. So Cam was a great ball player. Lamar won the Heisman. Lamar won the Heisman Trophy at Louisville. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 32nd pick in the draft, that was Ozzie Newsome's last pick. There's only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history that won the Heisman and then turned around and won the regular season MVP. Cam, Staubach, and Lamar. 3. That's it. Since 1936. That's a pretty big statement. Shows you how those quarterbacks, it's a quarterback. How can that trophy be a quarterback trophy when everyone sucks? Right? I mean, Staubach and Cam and Lamar are the 3 guys, right? Hurts' ceiling is unknown. Yeah, of course it is. He's only had 1 year. Of course. He's only had 1 year. Got to put them years together. How did Lamar fall to 30? Because they thought he couldn't throw the ball like Jalen. Do you know how much more? Think about that. Dual threat quarterbacks can't throw the ball. That's what they thought. Yale. That's why he went I think he was the last player taken in that respected draft that year by Baltimore. And shit, was that the Baker Mayfield year? Was that the Baker Mayfield? I think that was the Baker Mayfield year that he was the final. Get this, the top pick in the draft is now on his third team, and the last quarterback taken in that draft has a unanimous MVP award. Yeah, dual threat, man.